Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of What Am I Doing in the Shop Today on Drone Power Concepts. Heck of an intro, right? So we've all kind of seen where we're at with the shorts in the previous videos up until now. But I kind of wanted to walk through some of what we're doing here. Obviously, printing the rest of this ductwork for the fan that's sitting on the table over here, which we'll get to in a minute. We've been printing out these pegs to make sure that we have a way to epoxy everything together on the body. And I've been kind of arranging my wiring system setups where the Arduino holders are going to be. And these are great because they're TPU, which is cool. Keeps the vibration down on them and less malfunctioning with that. Same thing with the SpeedyBee mount. Now this is a creator on Thingiverse. Obviously, if you look up SpeedyBee mount, you'll find it. I did it out of TPU because I wanted to make sure I had some vibration mitigation on the board itself. Might not be a whole lot. Maybe I'll add more later, like a platform under that. But that's basically going to sit, this is half the control deck, so it's basically going to sit like right here on this part of the control deck. And then I'll have an area set aside for, you know, the batteries in the back that run the SpeedyBee flight controller, because the main power system for the drone itself with the size of these engines are separate from the actual power system that runs the SpeedyBee because of the input voltage. Each one of the engines are going to draw around 75 volts. I need at least a 600 amp bus bar system because they don't make traditional ones for drone enthusiasts that you can just buy off the market. I found a 500 amp, but it was only 22.2 volts, and I'm running 75 volts. So we're going 18S. So as we continue with this build, you're going to see another engine, sort of like the one that's right here. And we're basically going to get 4 of these, obviously, because it's a drone, right? 340 millimeter fan configuration. Each body part section that you do see sitting over here basically is epoxied into place here and here after the spars are put in place. So I do, and then I do a fiberglass wrap around there to make sure it's secure. Then of course on the inside of this you have your Arduino over there, as you can see, sitting snugly in its TPU port. Still have to run wiring for everything, but the lighting in this rig actually works already. You've seen it before. We're doing the same over here. And what we're doing is basically getting this fan put together. I have the lights for it already. And we're going to go ahead and get the lighting rig done after I run the compression screws in for this casing and get everything sealed up the way I need to. And have the nuts basically RTV'd into place here, and then pull the screws back out. And then what that does is it gives me the opportunity to take this ductwork and put it in place where it needs to go, and then run the bolts down into the nuts that are already there. I won't be able to get to them afterwards. So kind of a one-time assembly kind of thing, although these sections are held together with the same RTV. So worst case scenario, I can pull the bolts and pull each section of the ductwork off if I need to work on anything. But printing the last part of that one. And then we'll start working on fan number 3. Since this is number 2, we have a fully functioning fan here. As you can see, everything in it works. You've seen me run it on some of the prior shorts to this. So as we continue with this build, I will keep you updated on how things are going. So this will be like a multi-part video where it kind of shows the overall construction from where we're at now, collectively from the shorts and videos that I've already put out, and then we will kind of piece everything together. This video is going to be filmed in those segments where I'm putting everything together. This is gonna have to be assembled on the floor. There's no way I don't have a table big enough. And with a 5 foot by 5 foot footprint of the entire model, there's no way I'm putting this together on one of my tables. And it's going to be fun to, you know, arm it and then spin it up. Make sure it goes into idle speed and everything looks good. And that's when we start plugging it up to iNav and start, you know, working with the PID loop because of the motors I'm using and the size of the fans being 340 millimeter and they're 11 blade, so on and so forth. So as we continue this video, I just wanted to start you off by introducing this, basically where I'm at this point and where we're going.
All right, so what we're going to get ready to do now is we're going to seat all these nuts. So bear with me, we're going to get started right now. So as you can see, we've got most of these in. These are the main contact points where everything meets up, all the 3D prints. Now we're gonna go back around and finish off the rest of them. And that bottom half will be done and we'll concentrate on this upper half. And so let's get started on that. All right, before we get started on doing these upper bolts here, and we'll make sure that's also fast, so you guys don't have to endure it. What we want to do between here and here, first off, we want to take these under plates right here, and what I'll do is I will run CA glue on those, and then I'll run the screws back down. And what that does is that all aligns the seam on this top plate. So I'm going to move it around, back the screws out really quickly, and kind of show you how I do this. Let me try and turn it over here so you can see it better. So we're going to back the screws out until it releases. I just put them there to hold them in place at this point. Okay, we want that to release. I want this to release because it's threading itself into the PETG. You can't really just pull it straight down. So what we're going to do, since we are going to glue it, and we are going to tighten these down to where it requires bolts, so we are going to kind of intentionally strip out that PETG threading that we have from the initial insertion of these bolts. And what we're just going to do at this point, I'm running low on CA, guys. Time to get more CA glue. I will basically squeeze a couple drops here, especially through into there, and then over to here. And it's going to squeeze out and leak out and stuff like that, but that's fine. So what we're going to do is make sure that now everything we want is lined up where we want it at the top, so that the casing is symmetrical, perfectly rounded. So we make sure that's lined up. And then we're going to run, I would suggest wearing gloves. Typically I don't, because I'm from the old school Elmer's wood glue days where we just peeled this crap off our hands for fun. Not CA glue. I don't suggest you do that. I've gotten used to it though. Barely have any fingerprints anyway now. So that's how that's going to work. We're going to use those threads on this bottom one, and that's going to pull everything together, keep the top aligned, and keep everything glued in place. And that's what we're wanting. We're wanting to make sure that everything stays lined up like it's supposed to. And we're going to do that on all 4 sections. And that's when we'll start running up the nuts for this with no compression washer and then RTV. And then we'll go through and we'll RTV this gap right here to seal up the fan casing to make sure we don't have any air leaks, because that clear RTV works perfect. Then you go up on the other side and you smooth it, and it seals the whole casing nicely. So, in just a few seconds, you will see the finished product. All right, I kind of wanted you to see the last part of this. This is basically me adding the RTV underneath each one of the bolts, and this is how I'm kind of going to keep them basically attached to the PETG when I pull the screws out before we start installing ductwork. So what I do is I just put a generous helping on here, and then I'll grab it and I will run it down just snug. Because once the RTV dries, or the silicone, whatever you use, it'll be a nice snug little glove that holds it in place. Okay, there you go. So that does it for that. This worked out really well for the original fan, the other fan number 1. Now once all these set up, which I've done it basically all the way around, I'll pull all of these out, and then we'll have the nuts in place for when we set the upper bearing assembly on that holds the your vertical to bank angle on the fan. It sort of takes some load off of the bearings by supporting the front. So we'll put that on. It'll get bolted into place, and then we will start fitting ductwork around, but only after we add those 2 beautiful strips of LEDs, just like on the first fan. So there you go. And we are going to be moving forward now with the LEDs and the ductwork. All right, as you can see, I have sorted my nuts. Everything is sort of in there and RTV'd, and when everything sets up completely, these will all be backed out, leaving the nuts in place. And now the fan's outer casing is just about ready. We gotta print that center shaft, and then we'll run that through, and then put the upper arms on with the bearing here, the stability bearing. And now we're just waiting for the tapered roller bearings to get here so that I can put the motor mount and the back end of the drive shaft on. It's already on bearings, but that tapered roller bearing is really important for vertical stability. So we'll wait for that to get here to install that, and once it does, we will keep going. So in a little bit, we'll pull these out and start taking that ductwork we have over here and get it put together. The last part of, top part of this one is on the plate now, which means all the ductwork will be completed. And then we're going to start fitting it on here after we get the lights wrapped around and hooked up to an Arduino so I can test them, make sure everything looks good. And then those lights also get RTV'd into place. And then this is, like you can see here, how I put RTV on in the seam, kind of push it in, then went around the back side here, smoothed it out, and that sealed up any air gaps that I might have between the pieces. So we're gonna get those lights siliconed on, and then after that we'll start placing sections of the ductwork on after we remove those bolts. And we will continue forward. I've got to get that tapered roller bearing installed, and then the motor will mount here, and then of course the way it ends up working is that this will go over the main shaft, and the engine will go through here, and it's a 10mm shaft on the 7070 Flipsky motor. and that will index the collets that I have for the ends of the shafts. So those metal collets with some the keyway, the 3mm screw keyway nuts, I guess, or hex nuts, the little tiny ones. So yeah, we're just about there. So hold on just a minute, we'll keep going. Okay, yay for the fun part. The lights are wrapped around. Still waiting for the last part of the ductwork to come off of the printer. So as soon as that's done, we'll get the ductwork started. Well, I'm giving that RTV time to set up, that silicone. What I wanted to show you is this here. Now, with this setup here, because I want them to run in sequence, this will all be glued up, don't worry about any of that. You want to skip going from one strip to the other because it'll just continue on to the next strip. And how I get my effect is I run them separately. So I get hot line and ground from one going to the other, but both signal wires are going down to the Arduino. So that's how this works. And you also saw how the first fan was glowing and everything like that. So what we're going to do is plug this in. I'm going to show you it's the same principle, except it's rotating in the other direction of the other engine. So it'll always rotate in the direction of or in the opposite direction of the fan. So that's the goal on this one. So in other words, you think of a drone when you're putting it together as engines out, right? Blades out, like you're turning outward from the body instead of inward. So using that as a platform, that's how I direct my lights. So they go against the direction of the fan blade. So let's shut the light off here for a second and let's take a look at how everything's looking right now. A little hard to see, but same effect as the other fan. Exactly like we want. And now they're both gonna have their lighting. So that's what we're going for. So it looks good. I like it. Inside and out. One will illuminate the ductwork. One will illuminate the blades. And that's how we're going to do it. So that's why you have this kind of wiring mess you've got going on right here. So with that being said, we're going to, at this point, basically silicone all this stuff up, bundle up the wires, make sure nothing comes off, silicone all those, get them cleaned up and tucked in here, because this is the area where the fan attaches to the body piece. So you don't see it. It's just like on the other fan. So this blank spot won't even be noticed. It's just the way it worked out with 144 LED strip. So lucky me. So let's get it all buttoned down, and then what we'll do next is get the ductwork started, get it going, and make sure everything's fitting like it's supposed to. So far everything's going along fairly well. I'm liking it. It's just slow because I gotta wait for all the prints. But when we're done here, I mean, we're looking at putting a body section on after the ductwork, and then we're done with this motor after I get the motor here actually that drives it. And oh, what else am I waiting for? Oh, I gotta do that center shaft. But other than that, we're pretty much done with this engine. We're just assembling things, then we're going to get it on its body part. We're going to get it set over on the table, and we're going to start on fan number 3. So stick around here because we're going to be getting right into the body work. Duct work, I should say. Okay, so we've been doing some dry fitting of the duct work. Everything's looking good so far. We are printing the arms for that gear that goes on top. Not the gear, sorry, the bearing. This is that central bearing I was telling you about, and basically what it does is it sits snugly here and the arms go out to the casing. Just like on the other fan, like you've seen before. Just like this one. Alright, so that's where we're at. And the next video that you are going to see, because this is going to be a part 1, the next video you're going to see the entire front half of the drone. That's the bodywork, both front engines on this table, on the buckets. I got another bucket so I can put another one here, and we can set the whole thing up here. Then you'll kind of get an idea of, well, the sheer size of this drone. It'll be about half finished. So stay tuned for part 2 of this, because I really, really, really am excited to show you the full drone. So, with everything that we've been doing, welcome to part 1, the first half of the Strike Ultra. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you all for watching this video. Subscribe, share it with your friends, tell them this is epic, because I don't think anybody else is doing this on YouTube, especially 3D printing it. And you've seen the test runs. The fans are working great. So once again, I want to thank everyone who stopped by and watched this video, took the time to make it to the end. And if you did make it to the end, you are awesome. Love you all. Thanks for watching, and I will see you for part 2.